So if you guys haven't been able to tell from my Instagram, I have been machining like crazy parts for the Thingomatic for the new hot end that I got for it. So before I go any farther, let me explain the whole hot end story. So as you guys know, originally when I bought the machine, it had the stock MakerBot hot end, and I could just not get the stupid thing to work at all. It was horrible. Then Mark the Maker on Instagram was nice enough to send me the E3D clone hot end, which was decent, but still had a lot of problems with it. And then recently, I was down in Southern California and got myself a E3D V6 courtesy of Matter Hackers. Now there's a little bit of a backstory on how I got the hot end, so let me go into it. Many months ago at the San Mateo County Maker Faire, the Bay Area one as it's technically called, I met Joel the 3D printing nerd, and he had posted on Twitter that anybody who brings him a Red Bull gets 10% off Matter Hacker stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. I'll just bring him a Red Bull anyways, you know, why not? He probably needs it, jet lag, all that stuff. So I go down there, I meet him, I give him the Red Bull, get to meet him, get to meet some of the guys from Matter Hackers. That was totally cool. A couple months go by, and while I was down in Southern California visiting my family, I went to the event at Matter Hackers that had Joel, and beforehand I shot Dave over at Matter Hackers an email saying, hey, just curious if the I brought Joel a Red Bull discount still is valid. He goes, oh yeah, totally, what do you need? I'm like, E3D V6, 12 volt, direct drive for the Thingomatic. Yeah, sure, cool. Pick it up when you're down. I'm like, okay, cool. So huge thank you to Matter Hackers for giving me $10 off the hot end. Sadly, tax ate half of that, and I think road tolls and everything else to get there ate the rest. But it was really nice that they gave me a discount on the hot end. So huge thank you to Dave and everybody at Matter Hackers for the discount. Seriously, I appreciate it. So now we can dive into the whole extruder part. So for the moment, I'm just keeping the E3D like this, no hot end, no heater block, no thermistor, none of that stuff, just because I don't want to damage anything. But this is the nice little machined extruder that I'm making for myself. So if you guys can't tell from the images, I intentionally designed it with a clamp, and here's the couple of reasons why. A lot of the other E3D mounts that I've seen, except for the Titan, which is the E3D brand extruder, but that's like way out of my budget, they're cool because they're not that great because they just rely on friction to hold the hot end in. Yeah, I understand we're doing 3D printing, so there's not as much load as in machining, but I'm still picky, and I kind of like things to be rigid. And also the fact of the matter is my CNC mill in the garage, great as it is not the world's most accurate machine, and trying to make a precision interference slot for the hot end would be darn near impossible to do. So what I've done is I've just cut a slot, and then I made this little mounting plate that just squeezes in there, and you know, this hot end is not going anywhere. It is locked in there rock solid, which is awesome, but it's very easy. I can undo the screws, slide the hot end out if I need to. One other thing I did is to make my life easier in machining is I made, ignore the blue layout ink from when I was finding centers and stuff. What I did is I also designed it so that the stepper can be put on the left or the right, depending upon the configuration that I need. And I also made a slot in there so that way I can line the filament drive gear up dead straight with the hot end, and I don't have to worry about engineering anything. Is it going to be perfect if I change feed gear wheel diameters? Is that going to screw things up? Things like that were things that I tried to take into consideration when I designed this, and it's probably a little bit overkill. I mean, it kind of looks overkill, but at the same time, I don't think it's a bad thing that I've made it a little bit overkill. The main reason why I went with machined aluminum over 3D printed is kind of keeping with the all metal theme. All metal hot end why not make an all metal extruder, and it just looks really cool. So when I get done machining everything, I've got the little lever arm here that still needs some work. When I get done machining everything, I'm going to take and put it into my rock tumbler and get rid of all the sharp edges on it in there, and then I'm going to come along and polish all the pieces up on my bench buffer, strictly for the purposes of just making this thing look cool. I mean, no other reason why. I mean, the E3D is all nice and bright and shiny, so I might as well make everything match. For time reasons, I didn't film machining most of the components. I did do a time lapse of making version 1.0 of the base plate for the E3D, but that one never got used because I accidentally made things off center and stuff like that. But I will post that video up if you guys are interested in seeing how it turned out. I did shoot more footage of building the little lever arm, so I'm actually going to go into detail in a separate video about how I made everything. So stay tuned. I should have that up hopefully in the next week or two when I get done machining everything. So it's not going to be a very in-depth video. It's more just kind of like time lapses and the highlights of machining it and me jumping in there and making stupid comments a couple of times. But I figured something is better than nothing for documenting this, because it's not every day that I sit down and completely build something from scratch and document it. Now when it comes to actually mounting this in the Thingomatic, I've seen it where people have just mounted this directly to the Z head, but the problem is you lose a lot of Z travel. Something that MakerBot did originally with the Thingomatic that was actually really cool is they actually raised up the hot end, so it stuck out a little bit below the Z axis, but it meant that you had the maximum amount of Z height possible, which, considering this machine is pretty tiny, I want to get the maximum Z height I can out of it when I'm doing prints. So what I'm going to do is probably machine up some custom shiny standoffs, keeping with the shiny theme. Machine some custom shiny standoffs for this so it sits up, and then go from there. At the moment, I don't have any plans to put any cooling fans on it, as I'm probably going to use this machine mostly for higher temperature materials that don't require a fan. If a fan does make itself necessary, I will go ahead and do that. One other thing I'm looking into is also enclosing it, making like a small door on the front, finding somewhere else to put the control panel, maybe mounting it differently, building some kind of a roof. I'm pretty much making the machine as enclosed as I can, maybe also adding like a charcoal filtration unit, but that's stuff for the future. The main thing is I want to get the thing printing, because I'm dying to try out that flex plate that Kayla from BuildTac was super gracious to send on over. So sadly, the Thingomatic's still a couple weeks out from running probably, but I will keep you guys posted as things go on. I'm probably going to do another update video on the extruder when everything gets put together and finished and all that good stuff. But I thought you guys might find this interesting, and if you did, let me know down below. If you have any questions, please leave them down there. I'll also have the link to the machining video when that comes out, so you might want to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I will see you guys next time on Make It With Calvin.
I might send you my extra free.
Okay.
Like an airplane.
There you go.
But it doesn't fly. Thank you. Oh. See? Brought me a Red Bull.
And I also brought him some throat lozenges that saved my life when I lost my voice.
Yeah, I found some throat lozenges myself. Well, you saw the deal, right? That I tweeted out. If anybody brings me a Red Bull, they get 10% off filament.
You didn't tell him that?
Yeah, no problem. Paris said it was okay.
Oh,
dude.
Finally, it's awesome to finally meet somebody from YouTube.
Like, meet you in person.
I know, it's like, it's Joel, I'm 3D printing. Or do you put a video up?
Here.